I'm so happy to know that majority of you, all of you, because I believe so, are ready to hear from God. And we are open to God so that whatever we preach to you, you will truly come or emanate or have its source in God. I'm Bishop Gatimu from Apostle. I'm saved because my first identity is Jesus Christ. And we are reaching out to you from Apostolic Faith Church Bahati. And God bless you so much because you cherish in your heart the calling in my life. And thank you for accepting me as God's servant. God bless you in Jesus Christ's name. I'd like to share the word of God on being a producer of the next step. A producer of the next step. The Lord will like us to behave in a way that the next step of glory, the next step of performance, the next step of our development will be open. Today, if you don't make a step, you don't facilitate the move to the next step. And therefore, we have an initiative and a commitment to facilitate to be producers of the next step. There's a next step in family, next step in business, next step in experience, next step in your work in marriage, your work with the family, your management, next step in maturity, next step in planning, next step in your organizational methods, next step is we need to produce the next step. And one thing I would like to teach about, let's go to Joshua chapter 1. If you are going to facilitate the production of your next step, we must understand this. The Bible says, Moses, my servant, is dead. Let's go to New King James Version, yes. It's okay. That's okay. Wonderful. That is Joshua chapter 1, verse 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, you and all these people, to the land which I'm giving them, the children of Israel. By the way, God uses a word. He says, Moses, my servant, is dead. He is addressing Joshua. He is saying, no, you've been used to being an assistant to a person that I referred to my servant. I would like you, Joshua, to prepare and know from today, I want to affirm and confirm you to be my servant. The one who we used to call my servant is dead. The one whom you used to serve as an assistant is dead. He is not existing. He cannot lead. He cannot speak. He cannot appear. He cannot function. He is non-existence in the physical realm. He is not allowed never to appear again as a leader. You are the one to take charge. And God is saying, now Moses, I want to confirm you to take over that title, that blessing, that anointing, and therefore I would demand that you change your consciousness, your commitment and understanding. The one you used to assist is gone. The one we used to call God's servant is gone. The one we used to call the prophet is gone. But the work must continue. The anointing must remain around. The prospects must be attained. And God is saying to Moses, to Joshua, now Don't wait for Moses to assist Moses he fulfilled the duties of leadership. No, you are the one now to take over. If you want to be a producer of the next step, you should understand when God wants you to be in charge. When God makes you want you to be committed to the responsibility. You need to know when you are mature. You know, sometimes I remember one time in Nairobi, and one of my sister who is married, the husband said, Bishop, I want to come around and pay some dowry. Of course, we are used to having our parents receive the dowry. They are now dead. They passed on. We are used to having, maybe, if not my parents, I have stepfather. So this time I say, now my stepfather, who is old and still existing, can you please come to our house, because come and conduct, come and do the duties of the father. You are the stepfather. And he said to me, now Gatimu, I'm no longer doing that work. It is your work now. You need to know, I'm no longer taking dowry. I'm no longer officiating dowry negotiation. You are now in charge. Hey, I had to change my mind and move on to the next step, that I'm now in charge of my family. And I should be, whoever comes to our place, I should be ready to perform the duties, functions that my dad used to do. And I said I had to arise and take responsibility, change the attitude, and commit myself. Some people are taking too long to mature. You stayed too long as a son. You stayed on as a son, but even when your parents are not around, you still behave like a son. I want to tell the truth. Time has come that you take responsibility and know you are the current leader. You are the current consultant. You are the current person who is in charge. You are on season. You are on time. You are the one now. And I want now the youth to prepare for that moment. Those who are now growing up, prepare for that moment. Joshua was commanded, now you are the one in charge. Therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, you and all these people, to the land which I'm giving to them, the children of Israel. Joshua, take charge. Don't wait. You are the one. And Joshua was given some immediate directions. One, arise. Secondly, you must go over this Jordan. Jordan was flooded. Big river. Floods all over. And God says, oh no, the first part of leadership is going over this Jordan. Going over this Jordan. And you're not going alone. You and all these people, to the land which I'm giving them, the children of Israel. And the Bible says, every place the sole of your foot will tread upon, I've given you, as I said to Moses. And God comes out and saying, this is the methodology. You have not used it before, but I'm commanding this kind of favor. Every place after you cross Jordan, every place the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given you. Now, if you are going to facilitate and produce the next step, you must agree with methodology. When God says every sole, where every sole of your foot you tread on, actually you must tread upon somewhere. You must agree and participate in the method. I say, if you are going to be a producer of the next step, you must agree and be an active participant in that method. God is giving the land, but Joshua had to step to tread on the land. Wherever the sole of your foot tread on, I have given. I say, friends, you can't sit back and expect to be a producer of the next step, you need to know where God is involving you as an active participant, responsible person to effect the next move. Joshua, you must step on. You must tread on so that I can allocate, I can give. I don't know whether you know these things work today. Yes, people who sit back and never knock at doors, never step in new places. God, have you ever noticed that you move to a new place, you step in, your heart open up, your mind open up, and you realize God did not speak about it before. He confirmed your ability to possess when you step in. And that's very important. Another thing is when God also may not only give you the next step, but God will give you a vision of the area that you cover in the steps that you're going to make. And God says, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of Hittites, and to the great sea, towards the going down of the sun, shall be your territory. Yes, do you know why God gives you the extent of boundary? So that you can be inspired, so that you can walk knowing that you do not only own the place that you have immediately stepped in. Let me preach about this. Any person who has walked with God and who lives in fellowship and covenant with God, what God does, he has two things or two plans. One, even before you made any move, God put in us, inserted on our minds, the vision that before you die or before you grow old, you retire, this is what you should possess. These are the steps that you should attain in life and in the ministry. Can you imagine now? God gives two things. One, every place the sole of your feet you tread on, I give. That's okay. That's okay now. I know the method. But God also gives a vision. This is what you should cover. From the Great Sea, Mediterranean Sea, up to Lebanon, to River Euphrates, going down almost to Egypt. All that land belongs to these people. So therefore, why does God gives you the goal that whatever you are owning, let me give you the extent. One, so that you will not slow down. Watch out the speed. You know, God does not only want us to step in, he also wants us to step in a way, the speed, the momentum, the way we move, we are able to cover the vision as God showed us. If you move slowly, you may not be able to cover the vision before you die. If you get entangled on the way, you get held on the way, or you disobey God on the way, you'll never be effective. And therefore he's saying, I'm talking about where you are treading on, but as you tread on that, know eventually you have to cover all the land from Lebanon, River Euphrates, down to Negev Desert, and to the west, up to the Great Sea, Mediterranean Sea. You have. And therefore, Joshua, as you make steps, can you please be wise enough to move in a way that you don't delay so much, and to move in a way that you truly know that eventually, even the way I'm moving, I have to cover all these areas. You need to know, as you make step for today and tomorrow, the land that God has allocated. What I have come to discover, if you are prayerful enough, God will put in you his riches and the extent of his riches, so that as you preach, you know, before I die, I have to cover this land. Before I grow old, these are the boundaries that I have to attain. That's why when God called me, he gave me 3 visions of 3 specific levels of ministry. And God told me, you'll not die until you fulfill the 3 visions. Already, as I've been preaching, my mind does not, I don't see just what is around. I also see what is ahead. And that's why, even when I suffered so much for the ministry, suffering never entered my heart. Because my heart knew where God is taking me. My heart knew the levels of calling ahead of me. My heart knew the extent of the ministry I have to cover. My heart knew that what God has called me to attain is still ahead of me. My heart could focus the glory ahead and see how God will raise the church and the several steps ahead of me. And therefore, the current problems would not hamper or discourage me, because I knew the extent of the boundaries to cover. That my life is committed to great riches of the kingdom. Though the beginning is small, the extent of the vision is clear to me. And therefore, producers of the next step are so much motivated and inspired by the vision. God will give you a full extent of the vision before you start covering it step by step, so that you be able to be responsible for the whole vision. And as you read others, you can tell them, please don't rejoice at this. There is still more. I remember I went to Nigeria, Apostolic Faith Lagos, and there's this big sanctuary that was built and dedicated by the overseer then in 1971. Big, to contain 20,000 seater. But it is on a very prime land, 12 acres, just near city center. As the overseer dedicated the new sanctuary, and everybody was happy that the building is big, he told them, stop, because this is not enough. And he said to them, there is another one. I see 100,000 seater. This will not be enough. When people would see that the current building is so big, so glorious, for him, he knew the extent of the boundaries. And he said, no, this is not enough, because we need to purchase land for the next move, 100,000 seater. And therefore, a leader does not only know where he is treading on, he also knows the extent of the vision. And you are always motivated by the fact that God had declared that occupy so much, so large, and no demon, no evil should stop you. And therefore, in the name of Jesus, you are the Joshua of today. Arise. 1, you are going to cross your Jordan. Secondly, you are going to step on areas and occupy. God will allocate. And eventually, you're going to occupy all the boundaries that God showed you. I release this to you. Father, I pray that this brother, this sister will now arise from stagnation, arise from discouragement, arise from suffering, knowing that there is glory ahead of him, for he has to occupy the land that God showed him. I rebuke Satan, I rebuke darkness, I rebuke failure, and declare the glory of God. In Christ we pray.